So the Jets traded for Aaron Rodgers this offseason from the Green Bay Packers. We're not talking about that Jets signal caller today. We are talking about quarterback Zach Wilson. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Zach Wilson's career and why it has fallen off a cliff and what is next for him and his future with the New York Jets and in the NFL. Today's video, we're going to do a similar thing that we've done with the Trey Lance and Brock Purdy situation on that video and take a deep dive at Zach Wilson's career, his high school, his collegiate career, and his professional career so far. And take a look at what has gone wrong, what has led up to this point, and what is next for him in the future. With that being said, though, I think I've done more than enough talking. Let's get straight into Zach Wilson's career. Wilson grew up in Draper, Utah. He attended Corner Canyon High School, where he played high school ball. Now, the only listed statistical stats that I found for his high school career were his senior year. Wilson passed for over 2,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, as well as rushed for 752 yards and 8 touchdowns. Wilson originally committed to Boise State, but later decommitted to commit to BYU. In Wilson's freshman year, he played 9 games, throwing for over 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Wilson was also named MVP in the Potato Bowl after defeating Western Michigan that year. In his sophomore year, he again played 9 games, but this time threw for over 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, to 9 interceptions. Wilson was again named MVP, but this time by BYU after the Cougars lost to Hawaii in the Hawaii Bowl 38-34. 2020, though, was Wilson's breakout year in college. Wilson started 12 games and threw over 3,600 yards, 33 touchdowns, to 3 interceptions. Wilson actually broke Steve Young's school completion percentage rate and was again named MVP, this time in the 2020 Boca Raton Bowl in a BYU victory over UCF, and then declared for the 2021 draft after the end of the season. I decided to take a look at Wilson's scouting report according to NFL.com. I'll leave that the link in the description down below if you guys want to take a look at it as well. Wilson graded as a 6.50 as a prospect, which graded him as a boom or bust prospect among NFL scouts. Scored an 89 in production, 73 in athleticism, averaged out to around an 87 overall stat score. With averaging his combine numbers, it ranked him 5th among the 2021 quarterback prospects. Wilson was a projected first-round pick among scouts as well. Wilson was a projected first-round pick among scouts, but had a long list of weaknesses compared to a long list of strengths, such as has a bomb-away mindset, tendency to overstride and sail throws, and play hero ball, as well as passes on easy throws for a harder throw. Now, those weren't all his weaknesses that were listed. I just felt like those were the ones that kind of stood out to me when reading through them, but like I said, I'll let the link in the description down below to the official scouting report that I used in this, so you guys can take a look at it for yourself. Now, we all know the story from here on out.
With the second pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU.
And as you can see, Zach Wilson is here. And on top of his already elite quarterback hair, he puts a New York Jets take flight cap on his lid. And is this young man the savior that the Jets organization and their fans have been searching for since Broadway Joe Namath?
Wilson was eventually selected 2nd overall by the New York Jets, making Wilson officially the highest drafted BYU prospect ever. Wilson only played in 13 games his rookie year. Wilson actually battled a knee injury that kept him sidelined for a few of the Jets games last year, but Wilson did manage to throw for over 2,000 yards, but he also managed to throw more interceptions than touchdowns. Jets eventually went 3-10 under Zach Wilson and looked to improve in Zach Wilson's sophomore year. Frankly, it was expected that Wilson was not going to have the most cookie-cutter perfect rookie year. Not a lot of quarterbacks do. Many Jets fans, NFL analysts expected Wilson to take a step forward in his sophomore year. Instead, though, Wilson fell into a sophomore slump. Wilson again had another lingering knee injury at the start of the season, which led him to only playing in 9 games. Wilson only threw 6 touchdowns to 7 interceptions and went 5-4 as the starter for the Jets in 2022. Frankly, Wilson's season could be summed up by one game. The game against the Patriots in Foxborough during Week 10. That game, Zach Wilson was horrific. Some of the worst quarterback play we have seen in a long time. Wilson only completed 9 passes in a 10-3 loss to the Patriots, who frankly were not that great when they played them. Wilson was bad, and almost the whole NFL saw that in the highlights during the game, and especially after. Wilson was asked about his performance. He said this.
As an offense, though, I mean, when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No.
And that really put water into the boat, and the ship started sinking fast. Reports slam Wilson for not taking accountability on the Jets' loss. He was eventually demoted to 3rd-string quarterback the next week. Drama surrounding Wilson was that he had finally lost the locker room. There were rumors that the Jets could no longer rock with Wilson as their quarterback. The players just did not rock with him as a player and as a leader, especially after not taking accountability for a loss that he played terrible in. At the end of the day, a good football team has a good offense and a good defense. Realistically, you need both to be good to win football games. your quarterback is not playing well, it's a lot harder to win a game. And most of the times you see quarterbacks after a loss blame themselves for it, even though a lot of the times it's not really their fault. But the fact that Zach Wilson took no accountability after this loss was insane, because I think this was the worst quarterback play I have ever seen in my 21 years of life. In week 15, Zach Wilson was promoted to the second string quarterback after Mike White was injured. Wilson only played in 2 more regular season games, one against the Lions in Detroit, and the other a primetime game against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. And that was not a very great night in New York. Wilson was booed and eventually benched for Chris Streveler, and the Jacksonville Jaguars handed the Jets the loss. Jets eventually missed the postseason at the end of the season, and Jets owner Woody Johnson pointed to Wilson and the quarterback room being the missing piece for the Jets' success last year. Now, Wilson finds himself behind quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who the Jets traded for almost about a month ago. Rodgers' arrival in New Jersey now makes the Jets a contender for the postseason and beyond. But many are asking the question, what happens to Zach Wilson after Aaron Rodgers either retires or he decides to stay long-term with the Jets? Well, for one, Zach Wilson is the backup going into this season. I mean, if there were betting odds for who was going to be the starter for the New York Jets, it's clear it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, despite Zach Wilson saying he's going to give whoever quarterback comes in hell. Wilson really doesn't have any trade value. It's kind of shot right now. Frankly, ever since Zach Wilson has been benched, the trade value on Wilson is not great, and I don't think it's going to go up anytime soon. The Jets have stayed optimistic with Zach Wilson, claiming that Rodgers being the starter and Wilson learning behind him is exactly what Zach Wilson needs to succeed in the NFL. But the thing is, Zach Wilson is only on contract to 2025, and that's if they want to pick up his 5th-year option. Now, are you going to pick up the 5th-year option for your backup quarterback? I mean, it depends what happens with Aaron Rodgers, but is he the backup plan to after Aaron Rodgers or what? It's clear Jets fans do not want him anywhere near the team. I don't think after, say, 2 years or longer with Aaron Rodgers that Zach Wilson will be a part of this team. And if Rodgers decides to hang up the boots after 2 years and Wilson is still a part of the team and he becomes a starter, I don't think the Jets fans are going to be very happy with that. See, the Jets have a team that can basically win now. They have a very good defense, a very good offense now with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not sure you plug Zach Wilson into that offense, it's going to win games like they're expected to win games right now. Frankly, it showed the baptism by fire method when developing quarterbacks doesn't work, and Zach Wilson is the newest example of that. Jets needed someone to start right away, and they threw Zach Wilson into the fire. Whether or not that's the Jets' fault or his fault, I'm not 100% sure. The Jets have to be partially to blame for why Zach Wilson has turned out the way he's turned out. Wilson has not been able to stay healthy these last 2 years, doesn't have a winning record, frankly, he has never thrown more touchdowns than interceptions, which leads to many people labeling him a bust. And right now, it's not far off being that he is no longer the starting quarterback. But he's 2 years into the NFL, so we have still time to see if he can pan out the right way. Frankly, I think if Wilson is not traded or cut, he rots on the Jets bench for however long Aaron Rodgers decides to be a New York Jet. Or he could rot on another bench. And I know rot is a strong word, but I'm not sure he's going to be a starting quarterback. Look, teams have seen what he's done, they've seen his accountability, and they can see he can change, and maybe he has the potential to be traded or play somewhere else. But frankly, the skies are not looking very blue in Zach Wilson's world. Yes, you could learn behind a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but how good is that going to do you so far in your career? You've already not played well in your career, you've got flashes of it, but is that really going to be what solves and changes the problem here? Wilson needs development, 100%, but are the Jets going to be the people that actually give him development? And let's be honest, this is still the same coaching staff that put Zach Wilson in the position where they baptized him by fire. And who's to say the Jets aren't in another position to get another young quarterback they can develop instead of Zach Wilson behind Aaron Rodgers? I mean, there are a ton of college quarterbacks being pumped out right now. Who's to say Zach Wilson's even safe as a second overall guy? Say Aaron Rodgers gets hurt this year because he is up there in age and is susceptible to very big hits and injury. If Zach Wilson doesn't play well, that's just going to tank his stock even more. Frankly, I don't know what happens with Zach Wilson. I really don't. There's not a clear-cut picture in this. Honestly, we'll have to just wait and see what happens with his career. For right now, I'm very limited on calling people a bust, but Zach Wilson is 100% moving in that direction. So with that being said, where do you think Zach Wilson's going to end up? Where do you think his NFL career is going to go? Do you think he will play for another NFL team? Do you think he will play another NFL snap? Or will he end up in the XFL? Let me know in the comment section down below. I have been Josh from S.H.T Sports. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.